Huh?
Your hair's dry.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, wild. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I thought we had lost it about 12 times, won it 11, and then finally, we're able to pull it out at the end. I think it's just credit, obviously, Detroit and the way that they're fighting and the job that Mike Davis is doing, and them getting Jaden Stone back obviously changes the complexion of their team. He's been back for 2 games now, and he's a all-league level player, and so it takes a big effort to try and slow him down, which we didn't do a great job of. And it allows a lot of their other guys to play more comfortably because of who he is. But I thought we had some incredible efforts. Marquise and TJ, obviously. I thought Alvaro gave us some incredible minutes. I thought Chris Ford gave us some great minutes. And I even thought down the stretch, and I'm on him a lot about his effort, I thought Justice really worked down the stretch of that game to try to fight through some fatigue and discomfort, right? And it was kind of like who was going to survive down the stretch, and we were fortunate to make 1 or 2 more plays.
Obviously not an ideal situation to go into another overtime game, but is there sort of a sense of relief to see your team, back-to-back performances and close-fought games be able to come out on the winning end?
I mean, we've lost a number of close games previously, and at this point, I don't really care how we get them. If it's overtime, if it's regulation, we're just trying to be 1 point better, and that's what I think, we're trying to explain to these guys. And I thought the way the game started, I thought, I felt like I got a sense that all of a sudden we let our guard down some. It was like, okay, we're up 20-7, and they didn't respect the game enough to continue to give the same effort level defensively, or respect their opponent enough to be able to give the same effort level. And then all of a sudden you find yourself down 9 points with 7 to go. And I was told that I had to be very positive in the locker room after the game, which I was, because I was very happy we won. But that's one of the things that just drives me a little bit crazy sometimes, is anyone can beat anybody, and if you don't respect the game and you don't respect your opponent, you find yourself in tough spots. I'm proud that we were able to fight it out. I'm proud we made some of the plays that we made. I'm proud we got some of the stops that we got. But I would like us to learn that lesson, because we keep having to take that test, and we don't seem to get a passing grade, and so we keep getting the same test over and over. Excuse me.
The Josh Corbin foul in the second half that led to the review, and then the 2 unguarded free throws. A lot was going on. Can you walk us through kind of what you saw from that whole thing?
I mean, I couldn't see the hook and hold part. The thing that I can't really say much about it, because it just, I think they were trying to get control back of the game, which I think was was getting a little chippy. I think they did a good job of that, and they obviously have to go and review that stuff. It just happened to be a couple of things consecutive that just we're trying to come back in the game, and so every time there's a stoppage, that maybe hurts our ability to come back in the game, or get a flow going, or just chops the game up. And I don't know. I think that at some point in time we got to be able to say to the officials, and this isn't a slight on the officials, they're doing what they're instructed to do. If you don't see it happen, and you called a foul, then we can't always go back and relook at everything. Because if you open that Pandora's box, why don't we do that for other stuff? We're up 2 points with 2 minutes to go, and they call a jump ball on a wild play. Let's go look at that and see if it was a foul. Right? You already called the foul. In my estimation, the rule of the hook and hold is that the person tried to fool the official by hooking and holding someone, and then that person's the one that got the foul. So Josh Corbin got the foul. You called the foul on Josh. If you didn't think that he hooked and held him as you watched the play develop, then it's a common foul. I don't think we always need to go back and review our work, right? If you watched the play, you officiated the play, you called the foul on Josh. If the foul was called on Delcada, and then you thought that Josh did something to deceive you, which is what the intent of the rule is, to deceive the officials, then you got to go check. And so they said it was a player safety issue because they pulled, because he was pulled to the ground. But then I said later in the game, oh, Marquise got pulled to the ground. So what's the level of player safety, right? Like if I'm not anticipating getting pulled to the ground and someone pulls me to the ground, that's to me player safety. So that's what a lot was going on, and I felt like, and I hate getting technicals, I really do. I don't understand the sense of it sometimes, where you're like, giving the opponent an opportunity to score points. But I kind of got frustrated. I thought we had no life, and I thought that we were, just kind of going in this review cycle for naught, and I just got a little bit fed up with it, and I think it again, I'm not taking any credit for it, but I felt like we had a little bit of a sense of urgency after that we didn't have prior to.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you like how your team responded? I mean, you guys went on a 10-0 run after all of that.
I did, and I tried to stay away from them a little bit because I was frustrated with them at that point in time, and I could overhear some of the assistant coaches and the guys in the huddle saying let's go, come on, let's pick it up, some other things were said as well, but there all of a sudden became like you said, the sense of urgency that this is, we got to start playing with a little edge to us in order to be able to give ourselves a chance to win the game, because for a large majority of that, the end of the first half and the most of the second half, they kind of just got the ball wherever they wanted to get the ball, and there was no resistance and there was no dictating the terms of the conflict by us, and we allowed them to just do that. And I think after that we started to dictate where the ball was going to go, and there was a body there every time you caught it, and there was some ball pressure, people were in stances, right? And we were begging for that at the start of the second half. We no one's in a stance, that as the ball goes away from you, you can kind of see that whole view, right? You get all 10 guys, and we got so many guys standing straight up and down, and it's a 1 possession, 2 possession, 3 possession game. We need to dig some of these things out. I think after that moment, I think some guys started to get a little bit more engaged in what they were doing.
Andy, did you say you were told to be positive in the locker room?
Yeah.
Well, that team only lost to Mississippi by 1.
I know.
I know you know, but who told you that?
I mean, it's not not that I'm not incredibly thankful and excited that we won the game, but some of the things that we talked about coming into the game came to fruition, and I think my staff has been with me long enough, and they know sometimes that I'll get on that soapbox, and it's probably not the time. Let's just enjoy the win, and let's talk about it tomorrow. And that was really good advice that I received and listened to for once.
For once.
No,
Detroit averages 61 a game before James Stone came back the last game. They missed a month before. Just from a scouting perspective, how difficult is it to see what Detroit looks like on film, knowing that their best player hasn't been around for a while?
It's really hard. It's human nature. You look at some of their scores, and our guys follow the league. They're up to date with what's going on, and they know Jaden Stone's a good player, and they know that he's been out. But they played Northern Kentucky on Saturday, and it's a tie game with a minute to go in the game, right? And he was 27 or 29 in that game. And the hard part is Northern Kentucky plays their matchup zone, so you don't really get a true feel of how their offense has developed since the beginning of the year with him as part of that package. And so I don't think our guys fully understood the level that he can play at, right? And then, we won our last game, and then, you look and say okay, we got Detroit at home, okay, we're supposed to win that. Well, you are. We hope to win all of our home games, but you have to prepare yourself the same way. You have to be engaged the same way. You got to be focused the same way. And that's where I think that, some of the guys fell into a trap that didn't have the games that they thought they should or could. And I think that only got multiplied when we started the game the way that we did. And then I think guys even felt more of a sense of relief. But unfortunately, there were still 36 minutes to go in the game.
Speaking of supposed to win, your next opponent, IUPUI, you guys beat them by 40
They
points
won
last
tonight.
time.
They won tonight at Fort Wayne,
They
so I
won
don't
tonight.
want to hear about it.
Saying that how do you consider the last 2 games and how you guys are feeling to avoid the potential letdown coming?
I don't know. We ready. There was the one thing I wasn't positive about in there, right? The one of the last things we said as we left the locker room was IUPUI just beat Fort Wayne. right? And you think they're not going to remember what happened when they came here last time?
Mhm.
And I said, what scares me the most is that's going to motivate them, and that's going to make us fat and happy. And every game is a single entity. Every possession is a single entity. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you don't get rewarded. And we don't fully embrace that. And we're going to be talking about it a lot in the next 48 hours.
How do you contrast the lack of focus after the first few minutes with the fact that you guys ended up going 36 of 40 from the free throw line, including Hastings having a perfect night?
Well, that's what's so frustrating. Right? That's what's so frustrating. It's like, there's moments in time where we can't communicate to someone on the court what the play is. And then there's moments in time where guys make these high-level plays that are so impactful in a win. And it's like, if we could just ever put it all together, it would be nice. But that's the frustrating piece. But I mean, him going 17 for 17, and the way that, knock on wood, he shot free throws during the course of his career is incredible. TJ, going 8 for 8, 30 points. I mean, some of those shots he made in overtime were incredible. Maybe the best play he had all night was the assist late in the game too that he had. I think it was to Alvaro or Steph. I mean, what a pass that was. And and TJ did not have a good game last week. And the last 2-3 days, he's when I come down to the practice court, and I'm usually down pretty early. He's been out there getting shots, and I think there was a focus on that he had that was was really unique, and obviously we needed every single effort that he made.
Did the team miss Jackson last?
Yeah, we always do.
Yeah.
Jackson is, I miss him. He's one of those guys that you can just he can rally guys, he can communicate to guys, he can be in the right spot. He can guard different positions. Like for stretches of that game, and they were playing 4 guards. Probably 4 guys under 6'4". And so. That's an opportunity for him to be able to go in there and play some small ball at times and be able to kind of match them. Maybe I thought Alvaro did a great job. I thought Marquise did a really good job for stretches of the game. But again, that wears on you at times, and so not having all of the all the people available to you, especially a guy like Jackson that you can plug him into so many places. And the way that he played last week was, he probably had the best game of his career here, last Friday. And you sit there and go man, how can, if we can get him continuing to play at a high level, where does that put us?
Touch.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Where's he at with his?
I mean, hopefully he'll be back quick. I mean, I think it was more, the timetable of seeing the doctors and the precautionary stuff, and just being smart about it. Had this happen Sunday or Monday, there might have been a chance that he could have played, but it happened yesterday, and so it was, the turnaround time was just a little bit too rushed.
About a month ago, you talked about Alvaro having his consistency and energy be more consistent, particularly in practice. Now he's full-time in the rotation. Have you seen that consistency start to happen more?
I've seen it more in the game than I have in all the practices, but it's gotten better. I think at times he's young, right? And so all these guys think that if you just put me in the game, I'll just go and do my thing. And the layup that he kind of missed in the second half, and then the free throws, those are some of the things that we talked to him about a lot. Being on balance when you finish, anticipating that help's going to come, and sometimes in practice he kind of gives you, yeah, sure, coach. So I think there was a timeout right after that, so I got to get a good coaching session in right as he came into the huddle. But he also made some really incredible plays. A couple more blocks at the rim where he protected the rim for us. A couple of rebounds that he had for us were critical. There was a stretch late in that game where, he was matched with Jaden Stone, and I could say to him, hey, try to deny that dude a little bit. He took him away on one possession, and they tried to back cut him on another, and he got a deflection. I mean, those are the things that we see in him, and we think he has an incredibly high ceiling. And if you can ever just put all the pieces of how he prepares each day and how engaged he is each day into the games as well, we think he can even do more.
Touching back on TJ, career night for him, but 16 of those points came with about 3 minutes left and under in regulation and through the overtime periods. How do you get whatever lit under him to stretch throughout the entire game?
I think some of it was just the looks that he got. I mean, I don't think I thought the whole game he was really, really engaged. It wasn't like, hey, now his engines running hot. Like I thought he was locked in. The first shot he hit was a 3. He hit the 3 to put us up 20-7 on the break. It was a really clean, good look. So I thought he was in the right place all game long. I think he just ended up having some more opportunity. I mean, they were doing so much to try and take away Josh that they couldn't put that much attention to Josh and then be able to kind of slow everybody else. And that's where TJ and Marquise were able to really, I think, take advantage of some of that.
TJ mentioned that he's pretty close with Marquise, and so for the two of them to have career nights, for you as a coach, what is it like to see them kind of celebrate that?
That's cute, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that. I mean, they do spend a lot of time together, and they celebrate each other a lot, and so it's definitely cool that they had career nights, and we hope they keep having career nights.